So why would you want to go into the Air National Guard versus active duty? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a good hot minute since you have seen my face come across your screens, but welcome back. I'm glad to be here finally. A lot has changed. A lot has changed in the past year. I am no longer active duty Air Force. I have transitioned into the Air National Guard. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and the transition and, give you guys help if you need help, are having thoughts of transitioning into the Air National Guard or the reserves. I am going to be honest, I don't know much about the reserves or how that whole process works. I'm sure it's similar, but I can talk about the Air National Guard, and I'm actually still learning about the Air National Guard, but I can give you pointers and tips from my experience and how smoothly the process went for me. So there are two ways you can transfer into the Air National Guard. The first way I'll talk about is Palace Front, which is what I did. Second way is Palace Chase. Palace Chase basically means that you are ending your contract early, so your active duty contract early. So basically, if you signed a contract or you enlisted into the Air Force for 4 years and you've only done 2, but you've realized the Air Force is not for you, active duty, and you want to go a more part-time route, you can Palace Chase, and that just means you're cutting your contract in half, or you're stopping your active duty contract and you're transitioning over to the Air National Guard and are going to do the Air Force part-time if that's what you choose. Palace Front, which is what I did, is basically you are ending your active duty career, your contract is over, and you want to transition into the Air National Guard. My transition was super easy and super smooth. I did not have any break in service, and that's exactly how I wanted it. I did not want to have any break in service. I wanted to go straight from active duty. Say I ended active duty February 21st, I wanted to be in the Air National Guard February 22nd. I did not want to have a break. So the main reason for me getting out of active duty was just I really wanted to pursue my passion in broadcasting. I have my degree in communications. I really wanted to focus on my YouTube channel and create content for you guys, and being active duty really just didn't create the space for me to be able to do that full time. But I really enjoyed being in the military, so I didn't want to give up my service completely, which is why I decided to join the Air National Guard. If you're looking to transition into the Air National Guard, please keep in mind or be adamant or proactive about getting contacts. Each state runs their Air National Guard differently. So each state has their own Air National Guard. As far as the reserves, from what my understanding is run federally, the Air National Guard is ran by each state. So each state has its own set of benefits. Each state has its own way of doing things. So you just need to figure out the state that you want to go to in the Air National Guard and find a recruiter there and go from there. For me, I also use the in-service recruiter, the ISR. Each active duty base is going to have an ISR, an in-service recruiter, which is going to be the person, your first stop, if this is what you want to do. If you want to go into the Air National Guard, your first stop is going to be your in-service recruiter, because they are going to help you and guide you along the way and make sure that no steps are missed. And that was the person who helped make my process so seamless. And I was also able to get in contact with a recruiter. I'm in the Air National Guard in Washington State. So I found a recruiter in Washington State that was also able to help me through the process, because your in-service recruiter can only do so much. They will give you the contacts, but you also have to be proactive in your career to making sure that the process is moving along, because you will be forgotten. People miss things. People are human. They have so many other people. So you have to be proactive in your career to make sure that everything is being taken care of for you. So I made sure I stayed in contact with my ISR. I also made sure I stayed in contact with the recruiter in Washington State to help me. And when I didn't hear back from the recruiter in Washington State, I was making sure I was texting him, calling him, sending emails, just to make sure like, hey, I haven't been forgotten and you guys know that I am coming. I also knew the unit that I wanted to go to, which helped. So knowing all of those things helped make my process seamless. So why would you want to go into the Air National Guard versus active duty? 1, you get to control your Air Force career. 2, you get to keep your benefits, right? So for me, when you're in the Air National Guard, you drill monthly. I know, well, for me, we drill quarterly. So I go to drill once a quarter for 6 days, and that works perfectly for me since I am flying out to Washington to go to these drills. I know I don't have to fly every single month. I can just fly once a quarter for 6 days, and I'm good to go. And also, from my experience and from knowing other people in the Air National Guard, each unit will work with you. So like if you live out of state, they'll work with you like, hey, I cannot fly here every month. Can we work out a schedule to where I still have a good year? I still get my 50 days a year in. And so a lot of units will work with you in that way. I know one of the units that is really close to me, we work hand in hand together. They have someone that has moved to Thailand and flies to Washington State, I think twice a year, and does all of their drill in those 2 times a year. So anything is possible. If you're flying from Thailand to Washington State, it's possible. You do have to pay for your flight, but they will pay for your hotel. So that's a good thing. You don't have to worry about your hotel. You do have to worry about your flight, and you do have to worry about a rental car if you do want to get a rental car. But like I said, you get to control your Air Force career. So if I decided I wanted to stay in Washington State for the remainder of my career, I can do that. I don't have to PCS. Yes, I still would get tasked for deployments that you cannot control, but as far as your PCSing or moving every couple of years, you do not have to worry about that unless you want to. Like if you decide I'm moving to Mississippi, you can find an Air National Guard in Mississippi and you can transfer to Mississippi. If you decide you're moving to Hawaii, you can find an Air National Guard in Hawaii and transfer to Hawaii. Like it's really based on you and the openings that they have. So I like the fact that you can control your career. You can decide when you move or when you don't move. The second thing is keeping my benefit. To me, I had already put in 8 years active duty time, and I did not want my retirement to go down the drain. So I get to keep I still get to go to the commissary. I still get to go to the BX. I can go to the gas station and get cheaper gas, things of that such nature are important, and as well as keeping my retirement, I'm still gaining those years to those points to retirement every year. The only difference is with retirement, you have to wait until you're like 60 or 65 to get it. Once you are, doing things part-time in the Air National Guard versus active duty, you get retirement as soon as you separate. It's still a retirement. I think a good thing to mention as well is when you separate active duty and go into the Air National Guard or Reserves, you are still eligible to file for your VA benefits. So I filed for my VA benefits before I separated active duty, get with a VSO on base that will be able to help you file your VA claim and, get that process started before you separate. And the only thing is, I have my percentage of disability and I am able to get paid my tax-free disability every month. The only thing is when I go to drill, you have to let them know like, hey, I'm going to drill and I'll be on drill these days to these days, and they will stop your VA benefits because you're not allowed to collect both at the same time. What I do not call them to let them know because it takes forever. It takes 5 seconds to get it cut off, but it takes forever to get it cut back on. So at the end of each year, they'll do a records check, and they'll say, hey, you did drill from these amount of days. We are going to take the pay out of your upcoming checks for this amount because of the drill time that you served. I'd much rather do that than trying to call every few months like, hey, cut it off, cut it back on, cut it off, cut it back on. Just let me know at the end of the year when you do your audit and I will pay you back for that. But I just thought it was a very good thing to mention that you can do your VA disability claims as soon as you exit active duty and go into the Guard. Also, I think a good thing to mention is that even though you have been active duty and you didn't have any break in service, or even if you did have any break in service, that the Air National Guard still has to approve you to join. So you still have to be physically fit. You still have to be mentally fit. They go through all of your records and say, hey, this girl or this guy or this person has can physically keep up in the Air National Guard. And I was like, I'm active duty. What do you mean? Obviously, I can still physically keep up. I've been in the Air Force for 8 years now, but they still want to do a physical. They still want to do all of these things to make sure that you are fit to be in the Air National Guard. And you also have to enlist into that state's Air National Guard. Every time you move, so if I went from Washington State and I came to Virginia, I would have to enlist into the Virginia State Air National Guard. And also you have to be in good standing with the Air Force. So you can't be like about to get kicked out of the Air Force, the active duty Air Force, and be like, oh shoot, I'm about to get kicked out. Let me go cross over into the Air National Guard. Nah, they're not gonna take you because you are not in good standing. So you have to have a honorable discharge, be in good standing with the Air Force, not be in any trouble because you are still in the military regardless of if it's part-time or not. So you still have to be in good standing with the military in order to transfer into the Air National Guard. And I think I forgot to mention earlier another point as to why I like being in the Air National Guard, besides the fact that you can, you know, choose how your career goes. You also have time to be whatever it is that you want to be. You have time for your passions. You have time to be a parent. You have time to do whatever it is you're passionate about. For me, my case is broadcasting, my YouTube channel. You have time to, if you wanted to get out and be a full-time pilot, you have time to be a full-time pilot. Whatever it is that you want to do in the outside world, you have time to do that while still being able to serve your country and still be in the military, in the Air Force. And I think that was really cool. I personally like that. And also, another thing that I didn't mention is that if you got out of active duty because you were tired of PCSing, but you still really enjoyed putting on the uniform every day, there are options for that. You can be AGR, Active Guard Reserve, which basically means that you are full-time Air Force, just like you were active duty. You still get all the same benefits. You're still gonna get your BAH, you're gonna get your BAS, you're gonna get your TRICARE. Anything that you get active duty, you can get in the Guard as an AGR, Active Guard Reserve. And you're putting on your uniform every single day. You're going to work every single day like normal, like you did active duty. The only difference is you do not have to worry about PCSing. That's it. Like, you control your career. If you want to stay in Oklahoma for the next 20 years until you retire, no one is going to force you otherwise to move. You can stay wherever it is you want to stay. Another good thing to mention is cross-training. People always want to know, like, can you cross-train when you join into the Air National Guard? The answer is yes. Yes. You can cross-train as many times as your heart desires. If you enjoy going to tech school that many times, go for it. I met this one lady, she's in the Air National Guard, and she cross-trained. I think she was on her 9th or 10th cross-train. Go for it. If you like to, I don't want to be in tech school that many times and starting over with CDCs and all that, because yes, you still have to do CDCs. I'm not doing that, but you can cross-train as many times as you like, as long as your ASVAB is good, your AFOQT, whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you decide, hey, I love being active duty, but I don't really like my job and they're not giving me the opportunity to cross-train, think about going into the Air National Guard, picking up that job that you want to do, going to tech school, and continuing your career that way and being AGR. So those are definitely options, and I think is very important to mention, and I think it is a plus side of being in the Air National Guard. You get to choose your career more times than people get to do active duty. Making rank, that one is That was a little tougher than active duty, right? Active duty you control for the most part when you make rank. You make sure you have good EPRs. You study for your test and make sure that you are as prepared as you can to pass your test to make rank. In the guard, it's not as hard as people made it seem. Active duty is like, oh, you have to wait till someone dies, and people don't die to get those to make rank. It's really not that difficult. You do have to have a position that is open for your rank though. So say your unit has a Master Sergeant slot that's available, and you're a Tech Sergeant and you're eligible to be a Master Sergeant. It's still your normal 2-year wait and holding the rank, but you can go up to the board. They hold boards for the rank. So it's really just that simple, just finding positions that are open for you to move to. And again, if you're in Washington at one unit and you see another unit that has that rank that you want to move into, it's as simple as going to that board, and if they like you and they think you're ready, they will put you in that position. And that's how you make rank, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you're in a position that is capped at Tech Sergeant or whatever rank, like say you're in a supply spot that's capped at Tech Sergeant, they don't have any Master Sergeant slots in that career field in that unit to make rank, then you're stuck at Tech Sergeant until you decide to move. And then you can move to the group or the wing or whoever has that Master Sergeant slot that you're looking for. And you apply and you go to the board, and if they like you, boom, you have your Master Sergeant rank on. Simple as that. And there's no line numbers, nothing like that. You make it, you put it on. Done and done. So if I had to leave you with anything, I guess it would be to just make sure that you are staying on top of your process. When I first came in, someone told me no one is going to care about your career more than you do, and that is very true. So if you want to Palace Chase or Palace Front, make sure you are staying on top of it. Stay in contact with your in-service recruiters. Stay in contact with the recruiter to the state that you are going to. Make sure you have all of your records. Make sure you keep all of your records. I'm gonna say that one more time. Make sure you keep all of your records, because things can get lost. Things can get thrown to the side. You just want to make sure you are doing the best that you can for your career, and just make the decision that is best for you. I hope this information was super helpful for y'all. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comment box below. I'll be sure to get to as many questions as I can and answer all the questions to the best of my knowledge and my ability. You guys know I'm always here to try to help y'all in whatever it is that y'all need. I just truly hope this video was helpful for y'all. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.